Hi everybody, my name is Lindsay Swart. I'm here with Brewview, and we are here at Prosperity Brewing. I have Dom with me. So Dom, tell me about Prosperity Brewing, who you are, and the location of your brewery.
So we are a 2.5-year-old nano brewery. I use the word nano because we're smaller than a microbrewery. When we first started out 3 years ago, we had a 1-barrel system, which means that we were brewing basically 2 kegs of beer at a time, 31 gallons at a time. A year later, we upgraded to a 3.5-barrel system, which means that we're brewing approximately 120 gallons at a time. So it's tripled our capacity. We bought some more tanks, and we're actually getting some beer out to the public in addition to what we sell at the tap room.
Okay.
We're located in northeast Boca Raton in Florida. We're not too far from Florida Atlantic University as a landmark. We're about 2 miles away from Mizner Park, and we're probably about 5 miles from downtown Delray Beach in Atlantic Avenue.
Fantastic. So how did you get started?
Well, I've been in the restaurant business for quite some time, or the hospitality industry. I worked for a wine and spirits distributor for many years, and quite frankly, I got tired of wine. It got a little too stuffy for me. I was looking for something fresh, something exciting. I took a couple of business trips to San Diego, fell in love with the California beer culture, and decided to open a brewery and bring a little piece of that Southern California beer scene back to Florida.
That's awesome. How did you come up with the name Prosperity?
Well, we did a little bit of research. You know, we had a couple of years to sort of kick it around because we had some significant delays with the city of Boca.
I believe it.
But permitting and stuff like that, you know, like every municipality.
I understand.
Not necessarily construction, but the municipality itself. But it all worked out in the end. That's what happens when you try and open a bar in a warehouse. You know, they allowed us from the start to brew, but allowing us to have a bar and a tasting room or a tap room in the warehouse was where the challenge was. Old warehouse buildings usually aren't built to have significant enough parking, to have customers coming in and out. You know, and this is sort of flex office space, warehouse space.
Sure.
Anyway, but as far as the name Prosperity, I think I went off course there. We would look for something positive, something that was going to say success, something that was going to say health, something that was going to say thriving and doing well. And it's interesting, prosperity means so many different things to so many people.
Sure.
You know, our logo happens to be black with a little bit of sort of orangey yellow, like beer color, like gold.
Right.
We wanted to do green for our logo because we wanted it to be eco-friendly, environmentally friendly, and everything you think about with sustainability. But we realized very quickly, if it was prosperity and it was green, people would automatically think about money, and that's not what this project was about. Interesting. Okay. And if you take your fingers and you cover the first couple of letters and the last couple of letters, my last name is Perry, P-E-R-I. So it's a sort of
perfect. So Mr. Perry.
Now I go by Mr. Prosperity.
Oh, Mr. Prosperity. I like that much better. Anyway, so Mr. Prosperity, when you were a kid, did you have that entrepreneurial spirit? Were you selling baseball cards? Were you selling lemonade? What were you doing? You
know, I don't know that I did that so much. I am an entrepreneur now.
Absolutely.
I know it. You know, this is my 3rd business that I've started. You know, some more successful than others. This one hopefully will continue to succeed.
Yes.
I don't think I knew I was an entrepreneur when I was younger. You know, when I was a kid, pre-15 or pre-teens, you know, I was a hustler. I was always analyzing things. I was sort of digging in mentally to what's going on here. But I didn't really have a drive to own my own business. You know?
Okay.
But now I do. Now I feel like becoming a salesman for selling wine and spirits for 15 years, that creativity that forces you to be utilized to be successful is, I think, what's sort of turned up the boil on the entrepreneurial juices.
Interesting. Now, were your parents entrepreneurs or brewers or wine people?
No, you know, I think I grew up in a classic, you know, middle-class American family. You know, my mom was a housewife after my brother and I came around. And,
where are you from?
From New York.
New York, okay.
We grew up in Nassau County, about 45 minutes away from Manhattan.
Okay.
You know, so I wouldn't say suburban at all. Or,
gotcha.
You know, suburban, but not, you know, too rural, if you will.
Of course.
Right? You know, very close to a big city. And my dad worked for Con Ed, which is the power company in New York.
Okay.
For 40 years. Only person I know that's had one job his whole career.
Wow.
You know, 40 years. for the same company. I would say he was creative, he was artistic. He used to do remodeling of kitchens and bathrooms on the side. He was a hustler.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was an entrepreneur.
Sure, sure.
You know? And then again, I think that word gets a little bit overused. But,
right.
You know, when you really throw everything out there and risk not being able to pay your FBL bill for your dream project, that classifies you as an entrepreneur.
I like that definition. That's awesome. So who is your customer?
So I like to think that our customer is a small percentage of, say 25% of the beer community.
Okay.
People that frequent breweries because they enjoy beer and they enjoy the beer culture.
Right here?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think what's interesting is a greater percentage of our customers or our business is locals. You know, we've turned into the neighborhood pub.
Definitely.
You know, we don't sell spirits, we don't sell any alcohol other than beer and wine, and hard liquor for different terminologies. And the FAU crowd, as great as they are, you know, 3/4 of the kids that go to college are under the age of 21. And then the ones who are 21 and over, or hopefully not the ones that have fake ID, they don't want to spend $7 or $8 on a pint. So
right.
that really doesn't make up a significant percentage of my business. We're in East Boca, as I mentioned. There's not inexpensive apartments or homes. So I think the people that live and work within the 2-3 mile radius of the brewery are the people that make up the most of my customer base.
Okay.
People that are in the area because they either work here or they live here.
Yeah.
You know, granted, I've developed a clientele over the past couple of years. It's almost 3 years that we've been open here in the tap room, and you know, we got a lot of regulars. I've seen some customers leave the area and then come back and visit while they're visiting parents or friends or family.
That's cool.
So it's nice to know. I think the biggest smile that gets put on my face when people walk in and go, God, I wish this place was here when I lived in Boca.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, it's a pretty diverse set, and it actually skews higher than I would have guessed. I would have thought the average age would have been 25 to 30.
Okay.
And I think the average age is 40.
Right.
You know,
so like myself and my
over.
husband, right?
Yeah, no, 40 over. I tell people the median is probably right around 40.
Yeah, right.
You don't get a lot of people that are under 25 at all.
Okay.
And then 25 to 30 is a small percentage.
Okay, interesting.
You know, I get a lot of alumni and staff from the university, like professors,
Sure.
administration,
I believe
stuff
it.
like that. But
Makes
not
sense.
a lot of college students.
Great. Okay. How do you distribute?
Interestingly enough, our business model was to sell all of our beer in the tap room.
Okay.
As most small breweries start out with that plan. Your profit margins are higher when you sell a pint of beer rather than selling a keg of beer. That gets marked up to the distributor and then gets marked up to the bar or restaurant that's going to actually serve it in the glass. But the end user, the restaurant or bar or hotel, is the one who's reaping the highest percentage of profits. So we figured we'd sell everything in-house. Well, right before we opened, I'd say 6 months before we opened, we entered a little pumpkin beer competition over at the Beer Garden in Boca, the German restaurant.
Familiar, absolutely.
And their promise or prize was the customer's choice or consumer favorite from all the breweries that participated would have a tap handle in their restaurant for 1 year.
Cool.
We came out as the people's choice. I'm not going to say we had the best beer there. It was very good.
People's choice.
But we were the people's choice. You know, it wasn't professionally judged. But we were people's choice, and they gave us a tap handle. We couldn't actually distribute unless we signed a contract with the distributor.
Right,
So
I
we
understand.
started out with a small company, and they distributed our beer for about a year. We started selling to other bars and restaurants locally, mostly between Deerfield Beach and Delray Beach.
Okay.
You know, within 5 miles north or south. And we actually outgrew their capabilities, which is ironic because we're still a pretty small
Wow,
brewery.
that's interesting.
So we switched, and now we're with a fabulous company called Florida Craft Distribution.
Okay.
They're started right here in Palm Beach County. They focus primarily in Palm Beach, and they do a little bit of Broward. But as of last month, they took on some new investors, and they're going statewide.
Oh, great.
So in addition to having Prosperity in Dade and Broward and Palm Beach, we might actually be in Orlando or Naples. But since we are a smaller brewery, as I mentioned, I want to make sure that we don't try and reach too far and then run out of beer for the people who got us where we are.
Exactly.
Don't forget who brought you to the dance. You know?
Exactly.
If I can't sell beer to the Irishman and Oceans 234 and Kapow and play at Lion and Eagle Pub and Deck 84 and Tin Roof and Delray, then why would I be selling beer to Orlando and Naples?
Right, exactly.
You know, so,
I get it.
Yeah.
That's great. What's your best seller?
Well, we have two different beers that I consider core beers that we have all the time. Our Kolsch style blonde ale is, we call it Intra-Kolschstel, so it's a little bit of a tongue twister.
Cute.
That works really well here in Florida, obviously because it's a lighter style, easy drinking, 4.5% blonde ale, but also because the Intra-Coastal waterway.
Sure.
And then our Clutchplate IPA, which is our
what I'm drinking.
Our fan favorite. I think the Clutchplate is fabulous. It's super well balanced. It's Columbus, Amarillo, and Mosaic dry hop, which are popular hop profiles, or hop flavors that their profiles are popular. 6.9% alcohol, so it's got a good kick. Sort of a balance between an East Coast and a West Coast. It's got nice hoppy bitterness, but it's got a lot of beautiful aromatics and citrus hop aromas. And I think that's popular because the IPA is still a very thriving category.
I agree.
And I think the Kolsch is great because it's perfect for Florida weather year-round. It's crisp, it's refreshing, it's light, but I know it also gets a little bit of fanfare from non-craft beer drinkers.
Right.
You know, people go to that because it's your lighter style.
Exactly, exactly.
But those are our two. It's not a big surprise. I think we could have forecasted that. I think most local craft breweries will tell you that one of their IPAs and one of their lighter style beers are popular.
I get it, I get it.
We get it, I would say a close second is our Tang, which is our Tangerine Berliner Weiss.
Ooh.
So we brew a we brew a Berliner Weiss, which is a sour style beer from Germany, and then we add tangerine puree to it, and it tastes just like Tang, the breakfast cereal, so hence we call it Tang. If we actually started distributing that in bottles or cans, I'm sure we would have to rename it so we don't get a cease and desist letter from
copyright
from General Foods, General Mills, or whoever actually owns Tang. I'm not sure, Procter and Gamble or
whoever
Nabisco.
it is. So Dom, when you opened this brewery, did you have thoughts of expanding, opening up additional locations?
My business model, since my background is in the restaurant industry, is to have three tap room locations.
Oh,
open
great.
up this one, get one a little further north, maybe Boynton or further north, get one maybe Pompano or further south towards Fort Lauderdale, and that way we could have 3 tap rooms going and selling our beer at a good profit margin. That may exist, that business strategy may exist. I don't know if you guys know that I opened up a craft beer and wine bar inside the Town Center Mall.
No.
Yeah, my business partner's brother, my business partner is Ken Gross, his brother Alan Gross, owns the Prosperity Town Center Craft Beer and Wine Bar, where we feature 8 beers on draft from Prosperity Brewers.
So you brew them here and distribute them from there?
We brew them here, we sell them to our distributor, and our distributor sells them to to Alan at Prosperity Town Center.
Yes, I understand.
And we had to license the name to Alan so that way he could use Prosperity. And it was going great for the first 3 months until the current situation shut down the mall.
Right.
Hopefully, the mall has reopened, luckily.
Yes.
But since we don't serve food over there, we're prohibited from reopening because over there we are truly a bar. Here, we're not a bar. We are a brewery, so we're categorized like a restaurant, except in our kitchen, we make beer instead of food.
I like it.
That's what allows us to continue to stay open with phase 1 and possibly phase 2 when we hit that for Broward Palm Beach.
Awesome. So I am not only a beer lover and married to a beer maker.
Thank God for that.
Who's running our camera back there. I am also a commercial real estate agent.
Fabulous.
So part of my job, actually the main part of my job, is to help businesses find their next successful location.
Oh, wonderful.
So I know you have thoughts and plans of expanding. Dom, how would you feel if not in the middle of your peak hour, not during happy hour, not Saturday night, Tuesday at 4 or Wednesday at 5, someone like myself who has some properties that are available came into your brewery and had some ideas for you as far as renting out space? Is that something that you would be comfortable speaking with that person with?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so that's not something that would annoy you, or you would say, get out of my brewery, I don't have time for you.
No, of course not. That's silly. That's silly.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that, absolutely. So just a little personal plug of mine, because that is a big part of my job, and we like to make sure that business owners are comfortable with that way of approaching people.
Well, I think everybody's different, but as long as you're open-minded, why would you be offended by that?
Exactly,
right?
Because we're only there to show you an opportunity. So Dom, changing subjects, Tell me a little bit about your brew setup.
The brew setup. Well, when we first opened, we had a 1 barrel, as I mentioned earlier, 1 barrel, 31 gallon system that was home built by Kyle and Joey, who own Lauder Ale down by the Fort Lauderdale Airport.
Familiar, okay.
Great guys, great brewery, make a nice product, good hospitality.
Definitely. Cool space by the airport.
Awesome space. Monkeys in the back. That's true. Which I heard the story was there was a container or a shipment of monkeys that came into the Fort Lauderdale Airport.
Okay.
And they escaped from whatever containers they were in, and they proliferated in the woods or the wildlife area.
It's contained.
Yeah, because it's surrounded by water.
Right.
And as we all know, monkeys don't swim, right?
Sure.
So if you've ever watched any of the Planet of the Apes, their muscle tissue is too dense, so when they get in water, they sink. That's why they're so strong. Their muscle fiber is denser than humans. Anyway, so he's got a really cool monkey thing going on.
The monkeys are cool. The monkeys are super cool.
We got some monkeys up here in Boca, but they're usually college students.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, we bought their system. It got us going. It allowed us to make great small batches for test recipes. And then right as we were about to open our doors in the tap room, we bought an upgraded size system. I bought a Blickman, which is really known for home brewing, but they also have a professional series. So we bought their Pro Series 3.5 barrel electric brew house. So it's a 3-vessel system. It's a hot liquor tank, a mash tun, and a boil kettle. And when we did that, we actually purchased 2 additional 7-barrel fermenters.
Okay.
So if you do the math, we have a 3.5 barrel brew house, but we have 7-barrel fermenters, which means you have to brew twice to fill it up.
Yes.
So with those 2 7-barrel fermenters, we use those to make the Clutchplate and the Kolsch because those are our popular ones, best sellers.
There you go. Interesting. So there is another very, very important member of the team here at Prosperity. Unfortunately, he's not here right now.
Correct.
But there is the most gorgeous man I've ever met, and his name is...
The Tankster.
The Tankster, yes,
absolutely. And as gorgeous as he is, the best part about that story is that about 2 months before we opened, I found him out back.
I heard that story. Wasn't he tied up?
So we have a purebred, chipped English Bulldog.
He's amazing.
That's brindle and white and the most beautiful dog you've ever seen, the nicest disposition.
And I wish he was right here.
Who unfortunately had an owner who abandoned him. Oh. He wasn't mistreated, I don't believe. I do know he was overfed because when we found him, he was 84 pounds. And luckily, I've gotten him down to 70 now.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But the vet has taken, Spanish River VCA across the street, Sylvan, and the team over there have just taken amazingly good care.
Shout out.
Shout out to Sylvan. I've taken great care of him, but Tank's become our mascot. I mean,
Definitely.
I say he went from the poorhouse to the penthouse. And, he gets more treats and pets and wags and, friends. And, I had a
Instagram posts.
I had a yoga instructor friend of mine who told me that she needed to take Tank for the weekend so she can do an energy healing on him. And I said, why do you think he's got a problem with his energy? And she said, well, he gives off so much good energy. He probably absorbs the negative energy from some of the customers who are stressed out and
sure.
not ill will, but they're stressed out and whatever challenges they have, he might absorb that from them. That's the whole thing behind these therapy dogs, right?
Okay, okay.
So she brought him to the house and.
Oh, you let her?
Yeah. I'm down. Anything that's gonna help my boy.
You loaned him out.
And she brought him back. She goes, his energy's fine.
His energy's fine.
Yes. I don't know what his source is, but he brings it strong every day.
He's cool, man. He's a cool boy.
Awesome.
Anything else you would like to say about the brewery?
It's we jokingly call it the anti-Mizner Park because it's so casual here. It's come as you are. I actually have a lot of friends who own restaurants in Mizner Park and don't have anything bad to say about it. But here it's a come as you are. It doesn't matter if you're getting off work at 5 o'clock and you have your tie on, or if you're coming from the beach and you're wearing flip-flops with sandy feet. Come on by, stop in, grab a beer. We got a little outdoor seating area in the back when the weather's right, it's not raining. We got dartboards, we got arcade games.
Bring your dog.
Bring it. We're dog friendly and kid friendly. Keep them both on leashes.
Right.
Tuesday night we do trivia. We have different food trucks 5 or 6 nights a week during normal circumstances. Yeah, it's all good stuff. It's all about local.
That's awesome.
Everybody preaches it, and the reality is, I get all my T-shirts made about 2 blocks away. I buy pretzels, fresh baked daily from the Florida pretzel guy. That's about 3 blocks away. Any local vendor that I can support, I support.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how can we find you on social?
We're Prosperity Brewers on Facebook and on Instagram. Our website is prosperitybrewers.com. We're pretty active on social. We don't do a lot of print advertising. I don't do a lot of sponsorships, although we will participate in any beer festival that's within 30 miles or 40 miles. Sometimes it's hard to get up to Vero Beach or all the way down to Key West. But if it's in Dade, Broward, or Palm Beach County, we'll be there.
Great.
We love doing Oktoberfest every year, or Grovetoberfest down in, I think it's Peacock Park down in Coconut Grove. We love participating in Fran's Jupiter Beer Fest. Fran, I think he's like the grandfather of brewing in South Florida.
Okay.
He owns Sailfish and Twisted Trunk and Tequesta.
Yes.
He was the brewer that did all the consulting brewing for Brewsies 20 years ago, before craft beer was hot in Florida. But he owns the Jupiter Craft Beer Fest.
Okay.
And, we're fortunate enough that he lets us participate every year. There's a couple other smaller events that we do locally.
Okay, great. Well, Dom, thank you so much for your time. Cheers. Prosperity Brewing. I'll finish mine soon.